I'm delighted to be joined now by Kerry's Jason Foley as AIB has announced a 5-year extension to its sponsorship of the GA All-Ireland Football Championship, the AIB GA All-Ireland Club Championship and the AIB Camogie All-Ireland Club Championship. AIB is extremely proud to be extending their support of #the toughest championships, as well as the players and communities involved in Gaelic games nationwide. Jason, great to have you on the show. What's it been like getting going again into a new season? You're the ones at the top of the pile now, but you have to do it all again. I mean, they say, you're to retain the title, but you're up there shooting for it as well.
But yeah, it's brilliant. It's excellent. Yeah, you're back in the pack again. So everyone's chasing the same goal every year, and we're the same as everyone else again. Yeah, we're trying to get to the top of the pile at the end of the year. So preparations are going good.
And the way yesterday out came the seedings, or sorry, the draw, I should say, for the Sam Maguire Cup. But of course, you have a Munster final to come against Clare this Sunday. But you can't help, I suppose, look forward a little bit. I know you're fully focused on the game, but you can't help but sort of imagine what's going to come down the line.
Yeah, I suppose even just hearing the draw is exciting and stuff like that. And knowing that you have 3 or 4 great tests ahead of you over the next couple of weeks is brilliant. That you've a game every 2 weeks. It's exciting. It's different. It's new for everyone. So hopefully it'll be brilliant. Yeah.
And those big days at Croke Park that you had, especially last year, the huge match you had against Dublin, obviously the final as well against Galway, both terrific games. How much do you embrace those occasions? Obviously the match is there to be won, but like the occasion, are you able to embrace the occasion?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe probably more to previous years, really. I think as you get a little bit older and a little bit more experienced, you're able to kind of take in the occasion a little bit more, but obviously trying to focus at the task at hand at the same time. So hopefully we'll have many more of those types of occasions now over the summer and over the next few years.
And I suppose there's probably no more demanding position than the full back line where you play, because the opposition is trying to expose you and leave you isolated with probably the best man on the field at times. How demanding is it, and how pleasing was it to win an All-Star last year?
Yeah, it's very demanding, but that's what we signed up for, really. It's great to be able to be given a job, to given a role every game, to pick up various different forwards. I think it's a good test, but it's a privilege at the same time to be able to be asked to do those kinds of roles. So it was brilliant. It was excellent, and to be rewarded with an All-Star at the end of it was very nice for me personally and my family as well. So it was nice to get a personal accolade after it was all finished and said and done last year.
And growing up in Ballydonoghue, were you always a full back, or did you have different positions?
No, believe it or not, no. I was a full forward up until I was maybe 14, maybe 13 or 14, and my father asked me one day would I go in and play full back, because we were fairly heavily stacked. We had a great forward unit, but we were a little bit short in defence. So I think it was easy for him to ask his own son to go in and play a different position as to be asking anyone else. So it's kind of funny how I ended up there, really. So and the rest is history, obviously.
And would many people in your club have played for Kerry beforehand?
Yeah, they would have. Yeah, definitely. Robert Bunyan, Gus Crimmin, way back, and closer to the time, Liam Flaherty would have played with the senior team in the 90s and stuff like that, and won All-Ireland in 97. So those were guys that I looked up to in the parish and stuff like that, with the senior team. And I suppose in recent times we've had a few different players on minor teams and under 20 teams and stuff like that. So it's brilliant for a club like Ballydonoghue, and a smaller club, really, that we're able to kind of put ourselves in the map is small, but
And had you always dreamed of playing with Kerry?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. It was always a dream of mine to put the jersey on, and I suppose since I was minor, it's all been a little bit of a roller coaster since. Like it's come thick and fast, and the years passed by fairly quickly. But it was always a dream of mine. But I think when I'm retired and finished, I'll be able to look back at it. But at the moment, I'm kind of in the thick of it, so I'm not really able to look back on things or dream about things too much. You're just kind of trying to focus on the now, really.
And was it Eamon Fitzmaurice? What am I saying? Eamon Fitzmaurice who called you up initially?
Yeah. Eamon Fitzmaurice called me into the senior team initially. Yeah, in I think it was 2016 or 2017. Just before we were due to on a kind of a weekend away, kind of a training camp thing, and he didn't actually have my own number, so he rang my father, I think, at the time, and my father put him on the phone. So that was it really. It was great for him to show a little bit of faith in me, because I was only a young man at the time, and I suppose he knew it was more of a project than anything else. I had to put on quite a bit of size and fill out and stuff like that, and develop as a player yet. But to have those earlier couple of years to develop was brilliant for me.
So, who would have been your footballing heroes growing up locally or within Kerry?
Footballing heroes locally, yeah, definitely would have been. I would have looked up to the North Kerry players a lot. As I said, I was only born in '97, so it was kind of looking back at what Liam Flaherty did with the club and stuff like that was a great inspiration for me. And I suppose in later years, it would have been the likes of Eamon Fitzmaurice, Paul Galvin in North Kerry, Anthony Maher, and Shane Enright, and these fellas like that. It was definitely the North Kerry fellas I looked up to probably the most, because at any time there might have been no more than maybe two or three players in the squad at the time. So it was kind of trying to emulate what they had done and what path they had taken to get here. So it was great. It was great to be able to say that I was in the company of some of those players in maybe winning an All-Ireland last year. So those are the main guys that I kind of looked up to. And
because you're in North Kerry, would you have played any hurling growing up?
No, funny enough, no. Yeah, I would have been. My home house would only be a couple of miles back the road from Ballyduff hurling club, so they were kind of my local club. But we were very much a footballing club in North Kerry. I think even in North Kerry, the hurling and the football is kind of split into two. So never really had any thoughts of going playing hurling. Really, I think I was stuck in a shot of sports as a young fella, so I probably didn't even have the time. And yeah, we were probably we were successful enough with the club at underage level, so we were kind of consumed by that as well.
Yeah, and you often hear people saying that playing multiple sports does make you a more rounded athlete. What did you play, and do you believe that was the case, that it helped you?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I definitely. I played a bit of soccer with Listowel Celtic, and I was an athlete. I did athletics with Listowel Athletic Club. I think those two sports were, with the football were my main few sports. So I kind of focused on them. I think both the soccer and the athletics and stuff like that definitely helped me in a way as I progressed along the GAA route.
And like in terms of like the athletics helping you, is a lot of that down to like the footwork, the running mechanics and stuff like that? And I presume you've brought that forward to today.
100%, yeah, definitely. The running mechanics are probably the biggest thing, really, that I probably took forward. When I was minor in 2014 and 15, it would have been all new to guys my age, really, coming in and learning about running mechanics. But thankfully, I had probably a leg up in that situation. I was able to understand the coaching around those side of things a little bit quicker. Because I'd probably been immersed in it from a young age. Not having to focus on your running technique is a lot easier than having to try focus on running properly. So it definitely helped me. And yeah, definitely helped me out.
Yeah, because like, for some players that have run one way for 25 years of their life, and then but it is something that you can change, and it doesn't take forever. You'd think that I'll always revert to type of running, but you can retrain your brain to run in a more efficient way.
100%, yeah, definitely. I think obviously it's a lot harder when you get older, and you're probably in the thick of playing senior football. you probably you try focus on a little bit of it at the start of your session in the warm up like that with a few drills. But I think it's a lot easier if you can kind of nail that as a younger player. And I think these days it's common practice for development squads and younger players to focus on their running mechanics. I think it's very, very important. And obviously, as I said, it probably stood to me earlier in my career.
And in terms of playing with soccer with Listowel Celtic, would you have played against or with any good players? Did David Clifford play centre half with that team, or was it with a rival team?
He was a younger age group, and he was with Killarney Celtic. So there's Killarney Celtic, Listowel Celtic. So we would have played their teams a lot, but I think he was maybe he's a year too younger than I was. But he was a centre back. I was a centre back as well. So I think he was probably more flair than me. Obviously, I think I relied on my pace to get back, to stop strikers and stuff like that when I played soccer. So I was probably able to play a high line and get back. That's probably my strength.
Up for a few set pieces as well, surely.
Up for a few set pieces, yeah. If that's about the height of it. I don't think I scored many goals. Even as a young fella, I think I scored the odd header here and there. Being as tall as I am, so I don't think I would have had too much flair.
Are you enjoying the way people at times criticise modern football and even hurling? To be fair as well, do you enjoy playing it? Do you enjoy all the commitments?
100%, yeah. I think I'm stuck in it now long enough that it's just part of my life. Really, it is my life. But I'm absolutely loving it. Yeah, it's a privilege to be able to go into Killarney every evening and train with the senior team. So no, I'm loving it. I love routine in my life anyway. I'm very, very routine driven. So it's great to just have structure and know that you're probably improving week on week and go in and get a good test every evening of training. It's fantastic. So no, for me, I'm loving being involved.
And is there any advice you'd give, like, let's say 17 or 18-year-old you, just before you went and joined the senior panel, about how life would be or different to how you'd imagine?
God, that's a brilliant question. I don't know. Would I've given myself any different advice, really? Probably just to be patient, because I was probably very young when I came into the squad first, and you're probably thinking maybe how do I get playing straight away, or what can I do to get involved? But I think maybe if I was to give myself any advice, it's just to focus on little things first, like maybe getting a bit bigger, putting on a bit of size, working on your skills and stuff like that, and eventually you will if you stay fit and stay on the pitch, you'll get your chance and stuff like that. So that's probably the only advice I give myself, to be a little bit more patient and work on stuff and develop slowly but surely.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do a quick little Q&A, not serious questions. You can answer in one word if you like. What do you remember your first time ever at Croke Park? Now, this could be as a kid or whatever.
I might have been at Croke Park when I was younger, but I think my first memory of a game, I think we played, I don't think it was a great memory. I think we played Down in 2010. I think that's just the memory that sticks in my head. I think we lost Down in 2010 in an All-Ireland quarterfinals. It was a very wet, rainy day, so all the family went up. I think we stayed up for the weekend and we went to the game, and obviously lost Down. So that wasn't the best memory in the world to have. But probably the first memory that sticks in my head as probably the first time we went to Croke Park. I think we played Meath as well, maybe a year or two. That might have been the year before, a year after. But yeah, that's probably my first memory. Yeah,
I think Paul Galvin and Tomás O'Shea were missing that day, so I think that was a big factor. Maybe Kerry had a goal disallowed as well. I have some sort of vague recollection.
I think so. Yeah. Now that you say that, I think that's something that came into my head. All I remember was that we were in the Cusack stand side of the field, and it was a really wet, rainy day, and obviously a miserable result as well. So not hectic.
Who's your favourite player of all time?
Oh God, in Kerry, lots to choose from. Don't know. I suppose like growing up in the mid 2000s, I think Paul Galvin would have been someone that I would have looked up to hugely. Flying the flag for North Kerry players up here. It'd probably be between him and Mark O'Shea, I think as a defender, I kind of looked up to how he played, how skillful he was on the ball, and how tigerish he was when he was off the ball, and being able to shut players out of games. So I suppose it'd be a toss up between them two.
Who's been your toughest opponent? And it'd be a cop out to say someone within the Kerry panel,
but it'd be probably very accurate at the same time. Toughest opponent. Genuinely, probably David or Paul Gainey. Genuinely, it's they're two huge players, and I suppose if you're marking someone for long enough in training, and you're still maybe 3 or 4 years later still trying to figure out how to get the better of them, I think that's a basis for someone being your toughest opponent, is when you're marking them so often in training and stuff like that, and you're still trying to figure out how to get the better of them.
To be fair, I think it's a pretty good answer with Clifford. What team do you most like to beat?
What team do I most like to beat?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Team that I most like to beat. Again, it's probably a funny answer. Like, but if we're playing an AVB inside training and you're on the B team, you love nothing more than to beat the A team, and vice versa. So I think we play enough games every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning that losing one of them games can put you in bad form.
Yeah. Proudest day playing GA?
Proudest day playing GA? Yeah, I suppose it would have to be the obvious. Winning the All-Ireland last year. I suppose we're in a bit of a bubble, and you probably don't realise how special it is until it's all over. But I suppose just to be able to say that you got over the line and you played a part in winning an Ireland, that's definitely the pinnacle of any GA player's career, I think.
Who's the joker on the panel?
Joker on the panel. We've a good few now, in fairness, that think they are anyway. Probably give it to Darragh Moynihan. It's pretty funny. Darragh Moynihan or Paul Clifford, I think, between the two of them. I'm naming two people for a lot of these answers, but I think it's fairly truthful. Either one of them, I think, when we're on the bus to a game or an away trip or something like that, or we're away together, them two fellas seem to create a lot of laughter on the bus and stuff like that. So it's probably between them two.
Who's the best dressed and the worst dressed?
Oh, best dressed. I don't know which is. Do you know what? I'll give it to Joe O'Connor, because Joe love that I gave him that accolade. Now, to be fair, he's a very well dressed man. He's ahead of his time, fashion wise, and yeah, he's rarely looked poor, and he's always backed himself with whatever he has on. So I'll give him that accolade. And worst dressed, I will give Barry O'Sullivan that accolade. I think he's I'll just give him that accolade. He'll know why. Our panel will know why.
Is it woolly jumpers or what?
I don't know. It's just like small things, like we're away in training camp recently enough, and obviously in fellas had sunglasses because the sun be shining fella's eyes the whole time. But he had this scandalous pair of sunglasses, so that was one of a few things that maybe stick in my mind as fashionable, as tragic fashionable things go. I think that's one of those things that stand out in my head.
I just finish up then. 2 more questions. Who's a player from another sport that you admire?
Player from another sport that I admire. I think he's retired now, but I think Ronan O'Gara would have been a kind of a player I would have looked up to. Obviously not playing anymore, but again, growing up in the mid-noughties and stuff like that, and just hearing what he was like with Munster and with Ireland, and the mentality he had as a player to come back from setbacks and and achieve what he achieved was exceptional, and he's always one of my sporting heroes. He definitely would be one of them. And obviously what he's gone on to do as a coach as well was La Rochelle and the likes, and down under New Zealand. I think he's a phenomenal sports person in general.
And very last one then, who's a manager from another sport that you admire?
Manager from another sport. He probably, like, as a Manchester United fan, again, he's retired. I'm naming a lot of retired people, but Sir Alex Ferguson would be probably the greatest manager of all time. Maybe nearly any sport. What he was able to do, change the culture of a club and leave a legacy behind him. With Manchester United, and probably being biased as a Manchester United fan as well. But I just love to have seen what he would have been like around the training ground and in the dressing room. So
not Ralph Rangnick then?
Not Ralph Rangnick, no. Maybe Eric Ten Hag, no, but definitely not Ralph Rangnick.
Okay, well, great chatting to you, Jace. Best of luck in the Munster final, and hopefully we'll
Thanks very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.